But you look
if he got in, I think the president might even cancel a tea time.
Right.
I mean, I agree with you. If I had to name one sort of name,
Mitch Daniels from Indiana might have been that. I think he might have been that person, but he's said he won't run.
Well,
kind of a complicated life story there.
Yeah, but look,
would have spent a lot of time having to talk about that.
Yeah,
I think there's something to be said though from Jonathan's perspective, the New Jersey governor. As a candidate, when you can sit back and say, no, I'm not interested, I'm not really interested in this, and they're pursuing you, there is a fire that begins to burn and gets bigger and bigger, and he may eventually be doing the exact right thing to not be
way
out there
back
right
when
now.
all presidents started that way. All of our past presidents had to act like they didn't want the job to the point where they didn't even campaign. Presidential candidates routinely never left their hometown during the campaign. They didn't go to the convention. They didn't campaign. I mean, in the old days, you had to show that you didn't want it to be judged worthy of it. I don't know, maybe some of that appeals to us with people like Chris Christie. But I also think you look at him and you see a guy who would make the discussion interesting. I mean, there is a difference there. There would be two different ways of governing there. You know what I mean?
You don't think there would be two different ways of governing between a Rick Perry and a Barack Obama?
You know what? There'd be some difference. I don't think enough of a difference. They're both populists. They both fit that populist, you know, I'm in it to win it mentality. I don't think Rick Perry is consumed with a vision for changing this country.
I agree. I think all differences would be...
He has nothing else to do but run for president. What else is left to him?
Did you read Fed Up?
Yes, I did. And if he wrote it, it's a hell of a book. But where was that philosophy all these years that he's been a populist, establishment, statist politician, Jonathan? Where was that all this time? Did he just figure that out after the Tea Party? You know? Do you have to be governor of Texas for a decade to figure out that federalism matters? I'm not convinced, you know. It's a great book. I wish he had governed by it before he wrote it.
Well, one of the things, and I wrote a column about Perry, I think 2 weeks ago, and one of the things about Perry is that he's a tremendous politician. I think that's what you're saying. He has a tremendous sense for the political tide and how to take advantage of it, such as switching from a Democrat to a Republican in 1990. You know, being in the right place as lieutenant governor when Bush went to Washington, and then in the primary race against Kay Bailey Hutchison, he turned that into a referendum on Washington, and that's, like you said, that's when he sensed the Tea Party, the strength of the Tea Party, and this movement growing across the country. You know, 2 years prior to that, he came out with his first book, which was the book about the Boy Scouts in 2006.
I didn't read the Boy Scout book.
And then in 2008, he comes out with Fed Up. Between 2006 and 2008, something clicked in Rick Perry's head and said...
I hope you're right, but I can't help but think that some politicians have just figured out how to speak the language of Tea Party.
It doesn't... it may very well be that.
And you know who one of them will be? Barack Obama.
Yeah.
You watch. Next year, Barack Obama will sound like a guy who's at a Tea Party convention. He will talk about Washington like he has never been there before. He will talk about these past 4 years like he had nothing to do with them. And I mean, it's a learned skill. I cannot get over the... And for all I know, Chris Christie could be a fraud too. Who knows? But I cannot get over the feeling that Perry really doesn't get it, just knows what to say. People like Christie actually get it. That's just... I can't get over that feeling. I don't know if I'm right or wrong.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Christie is, you know, Rick Perry has presided over a state where Republicans have controlled every branch of government. It's not that difficult a task not to raise taxes, to push tort reform, to make the state, the climate, business friendly in the state when you've got everyone on your team. Chris Christie is governor of a blue state. He had to sit down. He fought the teachers unions. He's had to fight the legislature, but he's done it, and he's convinced the people that he's doing the right thing.
And isn't that more? I mean, isn't the challenge in Trenton more like the challenge in Washington?
Yeah, that's why I think Christie, it makes a more compelling candidate if he got into the race.
Yeah. By the way, how do you, Chip, if you're a guy who said, at one point, Christie actually said, what do I have to do, commit suicide, to convince you people I am not running? How do you climb down from that if you decide to run?
Well,
do you go out on a ledge and make your campaign announcement?
No, I think it works out great personally, because you eventually will say, you know, I've just been sitting back and reflecting, and I said, no, I did not want to do this. I am not a politically ambitious person in this way, but the state of the country, you know, is calling on me now.
I looked into the eyes of my children, and I said, I cannot let them down.
That can be a very effective political speak, you know. I mean, I
think we just wrote it for him here.
Well, you may have just scored another job as a speechwriter.
We'll mail it over to him. All right, Yami Virgin from Fox San Antonio, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We'll turn you loose on the streets to cover the news now.
Thank you.
And Chip, great job. Thanks for being on Gang of Four
today.
Thank
you for having me, Chip.
And nice to hear from you again. And Jonathan Gurwitz, we can make our bet or whatever if you want to do that. I don't know if that's allowed under Express News rules.
As long as it's under $25 in value.
All right, we can work that out. Thank you. We'll read, and the next column is Sunday.
Sunday.
And what are you writing about?
A new genocide brewing in Sudan.
The best thing to read in the Express News is your column. I really believe that. Thank you for coming in, and we'll look for that on Sunday. The podcast for Gang of Four goes up on the website this afternoon, ktsa.com, keyword Jack. In the newsroom, here's Karen.